Another impeachment complaint against Vice President Sara Duterte was filed before the House of Representatives, bringing the total number of petitions submitted against her to 3. Members of the clergy and some members of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, led by lawyer Armando Licutan, went to the office of House Secretary General Cheloy Garafil on Monday, February 9, to file their 98-page complaint against Duterte. ML Party List Representative Laila de Lima endorsed their complaint. 6 grounds for impeachment were identified, including the alleged culpable violation of the Constitution and betrayal of public trust, and other high crimes, among others. The complaint cites the alleged amassing and converting of confidential funds allocated to the Office of the Vice President and the Department of Education. It also accuses the Vice President of corrupting and bribing DepEd officials. The complaint also alleges Duterte of contracting to assassinate President Bongbong Marcos, First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, and former House Speaker Martin Romualdez. The complaint likewise mentions Duterte's alleged amassing of unexplained wealth and the failure to disclose all her properties in her statement of assets, liabilities, and net worth. Duterte is also accused of committing acts of political destabilization and the high crimes of sedition and insurrection. Ligutan and the other complainants also went to the House last December 2024 and was also the third group to file an impeachment complaint against Duterte back then. On February 2, 2026, members of the Makabayan Coalition filed the first petition for the second set of impeachment complaints against Duterte. The complaint of Makabayan mentioned Duterte's alleged gross abuse of discretionary powers over 612.5 million pesos in confidential funds. Members of civil society organizations filed another complaint against Duterte on the same day. The second complaint listed 5 articles of impeachment, including accusations of constitutional violations and graft and corruption, among others. In a video statement released on February 7, the Vice President said the second impeachment complaint against her was politically motivated and not supported by evidence. Former Senator Bong Revilla refuses to enter a plea to the graft charge filed against him before the Sandigan Bayan in connection with the alleged 92.8 million peso flood control project in Bulacan. As a result, the Anti-Graft Court's 4th Division enters a not guilty plea on his behalf during the arraignment for his malversation case on Monday, February 9. Revilla is facing charges of graft before the Sandigan Bayan's 4th Division and malversation of public funds through falsification of public documents before the 3rd Division. His co-accused are officials of the Department of Public Works and Highways Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office, including engineers Bryce Hernandez, JP Mendoza, RJ Domasic, and Emelita Capistrano Juan, as well as accountant Juanito Mendoza and cashier Cristina May del Rosario Pineda. Only Juanito Mendoza and Domasic pleaded not guilty to the graft charge. For the malversation case, the 3rd Division earlier Monday deferred the arraignment and pre-trial of Revilla and Juanito Mendoza, pending the resolution of their motions for reconsideration. The arraignment for Revilla's malversation case was rescheduled to February 16. The 5 other co-accused entered not guilty pleas during proceedings on Monday morning. Meanwhile, according to the Sandigan Bayan, Revilla filed a motion for reconsideration on February 6 and an urgent motion for inhibition on February 8. He cited 3rd Division Chair Associate Justice Carl Miranda's ties with Attorney Buenaventura Miranda, who served as legal counsel to former Public Works Undersecretary Roberto Bernardo during the Senate Blue Ribbon Committee hearing on the flood control scandal. However, during Monday's hearing, Justice Miranda explained that he already disclosed his ties to his brother, Attorney Miranda, for the sake of transparency in the subsequent proceedings related to the case. Justice Miranda stressed that he will never allow personal considerations to influence the performance of his duties and will never do injustice to any party appearing before the court. He added that the cases filed against Revilla and others were raffled and that the 3rd Division did not deliberately select the malversation case. President Bongbong Marcos is set to embark on a working visit to the United States in March. In a briefing on Monday, February 9, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says Marcos' working visit to New York will be from March 8 to 11. She says Marcos will attend the opening of the 70th session of the Commission on the Status of Women and deliver a message in the special session of the United Nations General Assembly. According to Castro, Marcos will also hold a meeting with officials from the UN.
Pangungunahan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang isang working visit sa New York, USA sa darating na March 8 to 11. Dadalo si Pangulong Marcos Jr. sa opening ng 70th session of the Commission on the Status of Women. Magbibigay din ang Pangulo ng mensahe sa gaganaping special session ng General Assembly ng United Nations. Makikipagpulong din ang Pangulo sa ilang opisyal ng UN.
According to the UN website, the 70th session of the Commission on Status of Women will take place at its headquarters in New York from March 9 to 19. The UN says this session's priority theme is ensuring and strengthening access to justice for all women and girls. It adds that this includes promoting inclusive and equitable legal systems, eliminating discriminatory laws, policies, and practices, and addressing structural barriers. International Women's Day falls on March 8. Malacanang stresses that the Philippines will not surrender any part of its territory or interests in the West Philippine Sea, following Senator Rodante Marcoleta's suggestion to give up the Kalayaan Island Group. At a briefing on Monday, February 9, Palace Press Officer Claire Castro says President Bongbong Marcos wants everyone to maintain a unified stance on the country's fight to protect its sovereignty in the West Philippine Sea.
Ang nais din po ng Pangulo, maipahatid ninuman ng bawat Pilipino kung ano ba ang ating karapatan sa ating teritoryo, kung ano ba ang interest natin sa West Philippine Sea. Ganun pa rin po ang posisyon ng Pangulo. Wala pong anumang bahagi ng teritoryo natin o anumang interes ang iso-surrender sa anumang foreign power. Pero dapat din po tayo maging tugma sa ating ipinapahayag. May kasabihan nga tayo, ang magtanim ng hangin, bagyo ang aanihin.
The palace official also shrugs off Philippine Coast Guard Commodore J. Tariela's claim that Marcoleta's statements amounted to treason.
Alam naman po natin ang isa sa elemento po ng treason ay dapat mo po na merong actual state of war. So wala naman po tayo sa ngayon wala po tayo sa estado ng actual state of war.
Marcoleta faced criticism after suggesting the country give up the Kalayaan Island Group, which he argued is not within the country's exclusive economic zone. Senate Majority Leader Juan Miguel Zubiri vehemently rejected Marcoleta's suggestion. He stressed that the island group is part of Philippine territory under the Constitution and the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, as affirmed by the 2016 arbitral ruling. The Kalayaan Island Group is under the municipality of Kalayaan, which is part of Palawan Province. The island group includes around 50 islands and reefs, including Pag-asa, the largest island occupied by the Philippines.